leading 750 plus professionals at MSI Services. He has been right at the intersection of technology, Mr. Neerav Doshi.
For us at MSI, our conviction in AI was never about chasing the trend.
From automating call handling to transforming customer experience. And the truth is, most companies talk about AI, but few actually execute at this level.
Because we've always believed that technology just doesn't change organizations, people do.
Mr. Doshi, that was a clear snapshot of conviction and execution. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. Today, we have got someone whose journey really excites me. Because when we talk about leadership in shared services, digital transformation, and scaling operations, very few people have lived through that scale the way he has. With more than 18 years of experience, currently leading 750 plus professionals at MSI Services, he has been right at the intersection of technology, strategy, and people. From AI driven transformations to building data driven cultures, he has done it all. It's my privilege to welcome Mr. Neerav Doshi to the show. Thank you so much for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Neerav.
Hi, Sunny. Thank you for that intro and warm welcome. I'm delighted to be here. When I look back my path, my journey at MSI over the past 2 decades, it has been very humbling and transformative, both personally and professionally. It has been about continuous learning, adapting, and scaling with people and technology. I would like to thank you for this platform, and I'm looking forward for our conversation today.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Doshi, let's start simple. Beyond all the titles and numbers, there is always a story. So, could you take us back to those early days from being a trainee at Kirloskar to now leading global operations? What has that journey really felt like for you?
Yeah, sure. Sunny, when I look back, it still feels surreal because my journey started in a very ordinary way. As a trainee at Kirloskar in Mysore back in 2006. I still remember walking into the shop floor with a notebook, nervous, and being asked to test transformers. It felt routine at that time, but it was my first real lesson on precision and accountability because each test result mattered, and that experience quietly shaped my career and how I approached my life later. Moving on to MSI, I moved into analytics. I had those moments that completely changed my life on how I saw data. I still remember presenting my first analytics to my CEO, Mr. Shah. I had missed mentioning the ARC in the email. ARC meant analysis, recommendation, and conclusion. And he sent a big note highlighting what is ARC and why it really matters and what should I be doing. At that moment, it shattered me that I have sent a good analysis, but the email was not encouraging. But then that was a big lesson, and that was a turning point in my life. I realized that data isn't just about numbers, it's about storytelling. And from that moment, when I reflect, I learned to be a better storyteller through data. And then moving on, there were also moments that tested my ability to be hands-on. Once I remember our office was hit with severe virus attack. Nearly about 15 systems were down, and I had to fix them overnight because at that time there was no IT support available. And I, being an engineer, knew about these how to install Windows and format and all. So I spent 2 nights reformatting and reinstalling the systems myself just to get our team online. That really helped me kind of put some things in place. And another time I remember was when our accounts manager was hospitalized, and his coming back was not sure because he was really not well. So I stepped into his shoes, ensured that all the salaries and vendor payments were made on time. So that experience taught me that leadership isn't just about one designation, but it's about stepping in whenever the gap is, or getting your hands on dirty when needed. So that's the big thing that I learned in my life. uh, then there were occasions where COVID-19 happened. As we all know that it was a very uncertain time, and nobody anticipated what would be happening. So during COVID pandemic, while all companies were downsizing, we decided to look at it in a different way, inspired by a book called Attacker's Advantage by Mr. Ramcharan. Uh, to see opportunity in crisis, we used this period to attract top talent from the industry and strengthen our team. Yes, it was risky at that time, but those decisions gave us long term strength. So, yeah, to conclude, from being the trainee on the shop floor to leading a 750 plus member team, global team today, my story has been about small learnings, and what is built to me today is the learnings that I keep to stay hands on, and the entrepreneurial ability to take decisions, and seeing opportunity in crisis is what made me today.
Great, great, Mr. Doshi, and that's such a real picture. You have made me imagine that first day of yours, and I love how you have shown the struggle as much as the success. So that's rare to hear.
Thank you.
All right. So continuing our conversation, Mr. Doshi, one thing that stands out about your career is scale. You did not just grow teams; you grew ecosystems, 750 plus professionals, multiple offices, integrated processes. So, what does scaling mean to you? And is it all about numbers or is it about the mindset?
Uh, yeah, Sunny, this is a very good question. Scale is a very, I would say, key term in today's world. Uh, so when I think about scale, I often go back to something Mr. Subrato Bakchi. I'm sure everyone would know him. He's the founder of Mindtree. Once said, "Growth is unidimensional. It's about numbers, but scaling is multidimensional, and our minds have to scale with it." So that line has stayed with me throughout my journey because I have lived it firsthand. So I still remember early days, which I was talking to you about. We were a team of barely 50 members. It felt like a family run setup. Or any given day, I could be an HR admin, an operations leader, uh, even a customer support personnel. So we have to wear multiple hats. We fixed many problems ourselves and thrived on that startup style chaos. But as we started growing, I realized scaling wasn't about just adding people. It's more about how changing the thought or mindset is. We couldn't run like a small enterprise anymore. We had to think like a global operations. That was the real turning point. Learning to build structure without killing agility is what I would say. Of course, it wasn't easy. There were days when our systems broke faster than we could fix them. Hiring fast sometimes meant cultural gaps. Expanding into new functions stretched our leaders thin. There was a phase where I remember thinking the real challenge isn't growing, it's keeping everything coherent while we grow. Uh, that's when I understood that scaling wasn't really means uh, like it. I can. take an analogy, maybe it's like cooking a meal at home for yourself. You can experiment anything, but when you open a restaurant, you no longer can afford that. You will have to kind of think of your customers, and everything has to synchronize in that kitchen. So developing leaders, embedding governance, and building an ecosystem where people, process, partnership, and platforms all work in harmony. That's what scaling taught me. So, concluding today, when I walk into the floor, I kind of a 750 plus professionals. Scale no longer means headcount to me. It means impact. How many careers we've shaped, okay, how resilient our operations are, and how many opportunities we created for others to grow. Numbers matter, but the real impact, when the ecosystem continues to develop and deliver value for you for long term. That's what I think scaling has done.
That's such a powerful way to frame scale, Mr. Doshi, not just as numbers, but as responsibility. And you have turned what most people think of as a corporate metric into something very, very human.
Right.
Okay. So, moving forward, you have been at the forefront of AI and ML adoption, from automating call handling to transforming customer experience. And the truth is, most companies talk about AI, but few actually execute at this level. So, what gave you the conviction to bet big on AI early?
uh, Interesting, Sunny, because today AI is a big buzz all around. Whatever you do, you hear about AI. I'm sure it's there everywhere around. But for us at MSI, our conviction in AI was never about chasing the trend. It was always about staying true to who we are as an organization. For years, our culture has been rooted in one simple question: how can technology make life easier for our customers, for our suppliers, and for our employees? That mindset directly comes from our founder, Mr. Shah, who has always encouraged us to explore how tech can simplify, not complicate our business. So long before AI become a real buzz, I'm talking about maybe 3, 4, 5 years back. Our teams were already experimenting using computer vision for our customers to choose the product. Like, we have embedded computer vision in our website, like they can see if this product matches their requirement or the coloration and all that. We also built a generative AI tool to answer internal queries on stock checks, pricing, some technical queries about our products, and designing a system that made service interactions a lot faster and more consistent. So it wasn't about glamorous experiments, but they were practical solutions from out of curiosity or the desire to serve better. Of course, it hasn't been perfect. It's always learning. One of our earlier pilots, I would say, most of them would have tried with voice bot. Even we started testing a voice bot. Struggled terribly with voice bots because regional accents and uh, some things did not work. It worked beautifully in the lab while testing, but it failed when the real world or when we went live on that. So it was humbling. We took that as a learning. It reminded us that important truth: technology alone doesn't solve problems. People do. So we redesigned the system with human in the loop approach, and then success followed. We strengthened our belief that AI is most powerful when paired with empathy and feedback. So, our philosophy has always been not every improvement has to be carried out by AI label. Sometimes innovation is as simple as giving people a dual monitor. So, uh, h- when you are working in a dual monitor, it's a lot more efficient. It's an innovation, but people always think innovation comes through a tech innovation or a system innovation. So what matters is the outcome. When people say big, we bet big on AI, I see it differently. For us, it's never been a gamble. It was an extension of our values, curiosity with continuous improvement, and service excellence. So we don't chase technology for its sake. We chase simplicity and value creation. AI just happens to be one of the best tools to achieve that in many ways. And the faster we adopt and people put that into the heart of the technology. So that's how we've scaled through AI.
Mr. Doshi, that was a clear snapshot of conviction and execution. And thank you for that. What you just described feels like a frontline decision rather than a boardroom slogan. And hearing the failure and the pivots make the success credible. People remember that honesty.
True.
Okay. So I was particularly fascinated by your Power BI migration because building a data-driven culture is not just about tools, it's about people trusting numbers over instinct. How did you convince teams and leaders to make that shift?
Yeah, again, Sunny, as I was telling you about our technology or AI, Power BI is no different for us because we've always believed that technology just doesn't change organizations, people do. And the hardest part of building a data driven culture isn't deploying a software or any technology, it's about changing behavior. I remember a review meeting years back, and at those times it was all spreadsheets. I myself am a very big spreadsheet lover. So two senior members came into my office with a completely different set of numbers on their spreadsheet. Both convinced me that they were right. And then we were all having a discussion in the room, and the room froze for a few seconds that uh, which numbers to go with, because both were very confident that their numbers were right. So whom do we trust? uh, Maybe that moment become a turning point that we realized if we did not create one version of truth, instinct would always keep winning over the insight. So when we decided to roll out Power BI, it wasn't about introducing a tool. It was about telling start. I mean, it was about starting a movement, I would say. The resistance was real because some leaders would tend to go back to that spreadsheet. When we send them Power BI dashboard, they would just click open it, see it, and then they have this tendency to go back because they are so used to that spreadsheet. So one dashboard with some simple visualization and the power of scaling, because uh, we even today we have close to 1,000 plus periodical reports across our value chain. Like you ask any data point, we have it available because we are so much into a data driven organization. You can always feel that shift. So that skepticism turned into curiosity. The question changed from why should I to show me the dashboard. That was the cultural inflection point. What made this transition successful was that it aligned perfectly with who we are as a company. At MSI, we've always believed decisions must be knowledge based and not gut driven. So every month when we run these reports, okay, for the scale that we were trying to achieve of 1,000 plus, it requires a lot more manpower, but BI helped us cut down that. And more than cutting down the people, it was about accuracy and insights that it can produce. So today we see our leaders open to dashboard before voicing instinct. It's because of the visual looks. It's because of the kind of evolution in the technology and the power of all the backend support that is available. plus the talent, we were able to scale and mitigate the risk of inaccuracy in the spreadsheets, I would say.
Mr. Doshi, I think every leader has been in that room where instincts clash with numbers. But
Right.
what makes your story powerful is that you showed the failure first. It makes the eventual success even more credible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always about learning from failures, like we would have put that perspective in mind that okay, something like this did not work, and then you take those next steps to overcome that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so we have spoken about your work, your leadership, your vision, but our audience also wants to know the real Mr. Doshi, the quirks, the fun side. So why not let's go for a rapid fire round?
Sure.
Yeah. So are you ready for it? No overthinking, just instinctive first thought answers.
Yeah, I'll try my best to be honest.
Okay. All right. So here I shoot you with the first question. If your life was a movie, what would its title be?
um, I would say it would be It's a Wonderful Life, because when I look back, what stands out isn't about titles or numbers, but it's about the people, the moments of gratitude, and the influence that I've had, what makes me a long way. So I would say it's a wonderful life.
Wow. I liked it. Okay. Moving on to the next question. One superstition or ritual you secretly follow.
Honestly, I don't have any superstitions. I believe in gratitude. I thank God for what I have. That keeps me grounded, and that's what keeps me going. So I don't believe in any superstitious, honestly.
Okay. What's the weirdest thing you have ever eaten and actually liked?
The weirdest thing would be, see, I'm a strictly vegetarian, so nothing too wild. But I've tried some unusual vegetarian fusion, like jackfruit papad, which sounded odd at first, but I liked it. It was delicious.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the next question. If you had one day with no responsibilities, where would we find you?
See, I am a social person, a family lover. So I would be with my family, with my extended family, having fun, pulling each other's legs, reliving those nostalgic childhood moments, and endless food and laughter. So I would spend that day with my family and extended family.
Okay. Which character from a book or film do you secretly relate to?
Uh, I would say Kabir from Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. Someone who's driven and ambitious, but at the same time, he paused and took some vacations, balanced his life. So I would say Kabir.
Okay. Uh, what's your go-to stress buster when nothing else works?
Uh, some evening walks with music, which kind of helps me spend some time with me alone and kind of reflect and rethink about certain things to clear out the air or some stress. So I would say evening walks with music.
That's nice. All right. So the last question of the rapid fire round, a movie or show you have watched way too many times but still enjoy.
Yeah, again, I would say Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. Something that I've always enjoyed and have taken a lot of learnings from that movie. It feels a reminder that we have to live every moment and be thankful to what we have. So I would say
Absolutely.
Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara.
Okay, absolutely. Zindagi na milegi dobara. And in fact, I loved all the answers of yours. And in that way, we came to know the other side of Mr. Doshi, the
Thank you
person.
so much.
All right, so let's move ahead, Mr. Doshi. And we have been talking about growth, leadership, and transformation. But I also want to address the other side of scale, that is the risks. So, what I would like to ask you is, in shared services world, one of the biggest risk is third-party vendor fraud, where
Right.
outsourced partners handling payrolls, audits, or vendor services misuse excess, misreport data, or even siphon funds. And weak vendors control have taken down some big names in the past.
Right.
So, from your experience, how do you see organizations protecting themselves against this risk, and what kind of governance practices really make the difference?
Sunny, I think this is a very critical aspect and a very important question that you asked. From my experience, there are few governance practices that really makes the difference. Maybe I'll highlight to you in 5 points. One being segregation of duties and access controls. There shouldn't be single individual or vendor that should have an end-to-end control over the process. There has to be a maker checker system validation and restricted access, so it becomes a powerful defense. Two would be data transparency. We have embedded analytics and dashboards into vendor processes. For example, with Power BI that you asked, there are always exceptions and anomalies that get highlighted and flagged. So that way we kind of have a reactive decision or a proactive prevention on some of those aspects. A third point I would say would be periodic audits and surprise checks. Governance is about annual reviews anymore. It's about conducting those quarterly, monthly checks and periodic assessments. And there has to be a surprise element when nobody is watching. Just a simple check may discover a lot more than you could have really imagined. Fourth, I would say would be contracts and SLA. Governance has to be codified. Vendor agreements must include not just service expectations, but also a clear compliance requirement, audit rights, and penalties for breaches. And then the last would be the culture and the training. This is the most important, I would say. Technology and controls work only when people believe in the principle. That value system has to be so strong in your org that you invest in people, that building that culture, and the employee becomes partners and understand the compliances are non-negotiable. So I believe that the role of leadership is to create the ecosystem where the checks and balances exist. In my career at MSI, we've always pushed for a knowledge-based execution. As I mentioned to you in your previous question, meaning every decision is backed with data and visibility, not to get gut feeling. It's about knowledge. So that culture also has to be created when things have to be following in place when nobody else is watching. So I would say, as I told you, this is a very critical aspect, and governance is very critical to any organization. I
Mr.
hope I
Doshi,
answered.
absolutely. Mr. Doshi, that's a sobering but very real picture. You have made the risk feel tangible, not theoretical.
Uh, I mean, yes, see, it has to be always an application. Only then the results are driven. So, if I am just saying and not walking the talk, it really doesn't take that impact. So, it's always the application. It has to be tangible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so this brings us to the last question of the podcast. And you recently joined Directors Institute. So,
Yep.
with all the leadership experience you have had, I'm curious to know what drew you to DI and how has being part of this community added value to your journey so far?
Yes, it's still early days, but the objective for me joining the Directors Institute hasn't been about collecting title. It's about filling the gap, the real gap. So, Sunny, I've spent close to 20 years with MSI, and While the depth gives me enormous insight into my business, I also realized I was missing an outside perspective, the real world examples where the issues with the issue boards deal with, or the governance, the risk, ESG strategy. They cut across industries and geographies. So I wanted to broaden my view and to see how leaders in other sectors think and bring in those insights and learning into action. So I've always believed in continuous learning mindset. No matter how far you go, you always have to stay a student. So I've joined the Directors Institute with so much networking opportunities from peers who come from companies with completely different industries, maybe banking, healthcare, fintech, manufacturing, and learning from them would give me a lot more insight. Uh, so that's my objective of joining Directors Institute, and yeah, looking forward for it.
Mr. Doshi, it's fascinating how you frame your journey to DI as curiosity and not a credential. I think what makes this story compelling is the humility and learning you shared. Even seasoned leaders face new challenges.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, whatever I believe. Again, I've always believed in continuous learning, and you have to stay a student in your whole life. That will keep you grounded, and that will help you kind of achieve success with a more grounded approach.
Rightly said, Mr. Doshi. And let me tell you, this has been such a meaningful conversation. From the early stories of your career to the way you have scaled teams and embraced AI, to the importance you placed on governance and accountability, you have given us a masterclass in leadership that feels both real and relatable. And on behalf of Directors Institute, I want to thank you for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders. Your insights will stay with our audience long after this episode ends.
Thank you, Sunny, for the opportunity, and I want to thank the Director Institute for this platform. I'm sure there are many like me who would really embrace this learning and will use this platform to leverage their skills. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you once again, Mr. Doshi. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If today's episode gave you a new perspective on leadership, governance, or transformation, make sure you share it with someone who had benefited or shall benefit from it. I am Sunny Vancholi, and this was FaceTime with Leaders. Until next time, stay curious, stay driven, and keep building the future. Thank you so much.